and I serve as chairman of the East Texas Charter Council. We are honored to have today with us the director of the Rail Division for the Texas Department of Transportation, Mr. Bill Glavin, and also his assistant, Ms. Jennifer here. TxDOT Rail Division is about 2 years old, okay? And Mr. Glavin is the very first director of TxDOT Rail. And it's again, an honor to have him here. I'd also like to recognize, not on your program, Mr. Curtis Morgan of the Texas Transportation Institute. Curtis. Mayor Eugene Smith, Mayor of Acadia, Louisiana. Mayor. And my beautiful wife and a director, member of the board of directors of the National Association of Rail Passengers, and who traveled with me in March of 2008 to go up to Union Pacific and sit down for a 2-hour meeting with the 09. We kind of run together. And which helped us cement a relationship between Union Pacific and AMTRAK. And Christina is, I think most of you here know, I mean, she has a saying, behind every good man is a woman rolling her eyes. But she tells me that doesn't apply to me. Today is a red letter day for passenger rail in the Architects. When completed, this feasibility study will be the first of its kind in the history of the state of Texas. Instrumental in this entire process was Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison. And we will be having a letter read shortly by Mr. Bruce Redden from her Washington staff. But with the proceeds of some $750,000, which Senator Hutchison was successful in getting through supporting our request for those funds in the 2008 and 2009 legislative cycles, $265,000 of that is going to go to this feasibility study. There will be one slot and one placeholder slot for 2 round trips per day between DFW and Bossier. And we're honored to have today the mayor of Bossier City, retired Colonel, President and Mayor, Lo Walker. Lo. The study is anticipated to take some 7 months to complete. The MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, has been signed by TxDOT and AMTRAK, and Union Pacific is on board to be part of the fund. And we look forward to having this study completed. And the purpose of that modeling study will be to look and see how we can increase speeds between the 2 points, DFW and Shreveport-Bossier. The locomotives are capable of speeds of excess of 125 miles an hour. The track can carry traffic at 79 to 80 miles an hour. The trains aren't going that fast. But this sequencing study will determine how these trains can be sequenced to improve the speed between the DFW airport and Shreveport-Bossier. And most of you are probably aware that American Eagle is for sale. We continue to see a constriction in in air commutation, and Gregg County is about to lose another slot from the American Eagle. So in the future, I think people can look back and say, okay, this 20 years ago, some people with a vision, with TxDOT Rail Division and the East Texas Corridor Council, got together and said, let's try to design something that we can utilize not only for leisure travel, but to connect with the airport, the hub airports, so that we'll have a 2-hour commute time as opposed to being, it's 3.5 hours on the road now. And as Director Glavin and I were just speaking of, the traffic on I-20 is anticipated to increase by some 70% in the next 8 years. If we don't develop transportation alternatives, then that 2.5-hour trip to DFW could easily stretch into a 5-hour trip. So, that said, I would like at this point to call on Mr. Bruce Redden with Senator Hutchinson, Washington State. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Redden.
Well, Judge, thanks for that introduction, and it was nice to receive an email to know that you're home safe, that you're here in Texas, not in Spain. I've got a letter I'm going to read on behalf of the Senator. Dear Judge Anderson, congratulations to the East Texas Corridor Council on the award of funds for the rail improvement feasibility study. This is an important first step towards bringing high-speed rail to East Texas and would not be possible without the unique agreement reached by Union Pacific, AMTRAK, and the Texas Department of Transportation to accomplish this goal. I applaud all of our stakeholders for their hard work to move this project forward. This study will help determine how best to integrate East Texas into the regional passenger rail network. As ridership continues to increase on Amtrak's Texas Eagle and route throughout the state, the demand for multimodal transportation options in Texas is clear. It is imperative that we consider how best to improve service, speed, and connectivity of passenger rail throughout the state. The nearly $750,000 I helped secure towards this grant, awarded in 2009 transportation appropriations, will help our state and local leaders to make the right decision on behalf of the community throughout the region. I look forward to better, smarter, faster passenger rail options in East Texas and across the United States. Sincerely, K. Bailey Hutchinson, of the United States.
Hutchinson is a true friend of passenger rail. I know Mayor Audrey Carroll, who is here with others in the communities that Amtrak worked with Senator Hutchinson when they had proposed to shut down the Texas Eagle. And they were able to get a loan, and the Amtrak Texas Eagle continued in its existence, and they paid the money back with interest early. So. Our first ever director of the TxDOT Rail Division has hit the ground running, and we are delightful to have a rail division as of 2009 December appropriation. And Bill has held that position and has been a true friend. And the collaborative effort which Director Glavin and Jennifer have demonstrated with the other members of the TxDOT Rail Division in working with the Corridor Council is deeply appreciated. Please join me in welcoming Mr. William Glavin, Director of TxDOT Rail. Bill?
I appreciate the opportunity to be here today, but this is really the Corridor Council's and the East Texas Council of Governments Day, not TxDOT's Day. We appreciate the opportunity to be here. I was here about 1.5 years ago talking about the Texas Rail Plan and what we hope to do. As Hannibal Smith on the A-Team used to say, I love it when a plan comes together and we're able to start looking at doing something with the monies that have been allotted and that are available to us, and be able to move forward on this feasibility study with our partners from Amtrak and, of course, with the cooperation of the Union Pacific Railroad, without which we wouldn't be able to be here today and we wouldn't be able to be moving forward as quickly as we anticipate and as expeditiously as we anticipate. This is a feasibility study. It is the first step. But I keep my fingers crossed, and I hope that we will increase the number of passenger options, transportation options within the state of Texas. Rail passenger movement has to be in the quiver and part of the solution set for the congestion that we're experiencing in the state as the state of Texas continues to grow 20% over the last decade at a rate of over 1,000 people a day coming into the state of Texas or being born here. And we cannot solve it by continuing to pave additional roadways and pave additional lanes. We have to have alternatives to that, especially, you know, in my case, I'm part of an aging population. My kids don't want me driving anymore, basically. So I need to have a transportation out here. So again, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much. This gentleman I'm about to introduce has served some 14 years in the State House, and during that period of time, worked with then Congressman Max Sandman to obtain a designation of one of 11 federally designated high-speed rail corridors in the state, South Central High-Speed Rail Corridor. And I asked him to come over here today. He also, any of you that are in his house district over in Gregg or Upshur County, he also happens to be a candidate for state rep over there. So but please join me in welcoming Donald Tommy Merritt.
Judge. I want to thank all of you for being here and showing your support for a small group of Texans who celebrate a great heart in Texas independence. Griff Hubbard and Natalie Rabikoff, Joyce Smith, Richard Anderson, Tim Vaughn are true Texans. They have stood tall for independence for the Texas-Louisiana border region. That Texas-Louisiana border region have fought tooth and nail. I would like to also ask you to be able, for Bruce, to tell Senator Hutchinson that upon the reading of her letter, that she received a standing ovation for giving you $750,000 to be the first rail initiative in the state to set a time that when you leave Bossier City and you arrive in Dallas, that you're going to be able to set your watch on that we're going to run on time. So would y'all stand up and thank you? I cannot thank her enough because she stood on a federal level. And not only did she do this on your behalf, but she stood tall for passenger rail initiatives in Texas, but particularly East Texas. And over the years, I have filed bill after bill saying that we're going to have the Texas-Louisiana Border Region Authority, that you would be able to go on your own behalf to Washington and ask for a grant of this magnitude without TxDOT's help. You see, TxDOT didn't have a rail division when we started. But because of you and because of your initiative and because of your push of explaining passenger rail to the rest of the state of Texas, we now have a rail division. And Bill, thank you for what you're doing for our region and for what you're doing to promote passenger rail for Texas. I look forward to this. Everybody in this room, outside of the naysayers, know that AMTRAK, this is feasible. We know it can be done. We know we can get on the train and get from Bossier City to Dallas, that we can get on the train and maybe catch an airplane out of Freeport. The initiative for this not only came from Senator Hutchinson, but it came from the EPA in saying that our area was in non-attainment, that our air was dirty. And how do we clean up our air? We get the cars off the highway. And we want a clean locomotive. We'd like to have a green locomotive to begin this trust, this vision for the state, that we're going to clean our air up and we're going to move more passengers and more people with less energy and with faster services. And with that, I commend you. And Judge, you've done a tremendous job. Selfless. It's a thankless job, but I'd like to thank you. With this closure, I'm leaving to go tell tell Ambuck how great you are. Bill, good luck. Thank you.